My name is Cynthia Kidd Johnson. I am a certified AI consultant, and I have a background in information technology and project management. However, I don't claim to be a coder. Okay? All right, so let me get to the agenda so you can see where we're headed today. But before I do that, I'd like to ask who's in the audience. If you have explored Canva Code before, can you just put like a yes in the chat for me? And the other group of people that I'm interested in is people who are actual coders. If you're in the audience today, can you actually put the word code in the chat? So let me see what the audience makeup is so that we can learn together. I see a lot of people who've already used Canva Code, so that's great. And I see at least a couple of coders. So, and Deb says a little bit of coding. Okay, I'm that way too. All right, so just quickly, the agenda that I have for you today is just to do like an intro to Canva Code, just so we can understand what it is. I have two slides, just one on what is Canva Code and one on what mistakes to avoid when coding. After that, I'm going to share a couple of examples of Canva Code apps that I have created. And then we'll walk through the sticky note planner app that I created. I will show you my app, and then we will get into walking through a live demo of it. So there'll be a lot of interesting twists and turns along the way. Are we ready? Let me know you're ready in the chat, and I'm just going to keep moving, okay? All right, perfect. Okay, so what is Canva Code? It's a no-code AI tool inside of Canva that turns natural language prompts into working web apps. Okay, so you can use it and publish it. So it's perfect for quick prototypes like building tools like calculators and landing pages, and you can do it in minutes rather than having to hire a coder. So it also runs entirely in Canva. That's one of the wonderful things about it. You just give it a prompt through the Canva AI coding area, and Canva, the platform, handles all of the publishing for you. So if you don't have a website, you can use Canva to publish it. But if you do have a website, you can use it externally. Okay, so that's the good news. Now, I want to get to this slide just really quickly before I get into the demos, because I think it'll make sense when you see some of the stuff we do. So if you're not a coder, and even if you are, if you're going to use Canva Code, there's some things you should be aware of. First of all, no two bills are the same inside of Canva. Okay, even with the same request, the same copy prompt, you can definitely expect different results. So that can be good or bad, but you just have to have some patience. So it doesn't have a database behind it. There's no memory in Canva, so it can't remember Canva code, so it can't remember what the user inputs are across sessions.
Hi, Cynthia.
Yes.
Are you sharing your screen? Just want to know.
Yeah, you don't see it?
No, we're not seeing it.
Oh, so I apologize. Stop. It says I'm sharing. Let me stop. Thank you for letting me know that. Okay, let's go. I don't see the
It
share
seems some of
anymore.
her were. It seems some of us were seeing it and some of us weren't.
Oh, really?
I'm
Oh,
not sure
okay.
what's happening.
All right, let me do it again. Um, I wanted to share the whole screen because it's just easier. So I'm going to try that one more time. So I'm selecting share now. And Daydream, maybe it was
Yes,
the
now
the tip
full.
you
Now
the tip
remember
you gave
full.
me. How about now?
Yes, ma'am. Perfect.
Apologize. Thank you for telling me. So I don't know how far we've been going without it, but are we good with just me starting from here?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, perfect. Okay, so as I was saying, no two bills in Canva are the same in the Canva Code area. And Canva Code doesn't have database back into it. And so it doesn't remember things across sessions. And it's also limited in terms of customization. And when we do the walkthrough, this is where you'll really understand a number three. Basically, it has limited customization. And if you start down the road of asking for more than one version, once it gives you the first option, that first version, you will see that it might start to hallucinate. And basically, sometimes it's better to just start over. Okay. Okay. So, lastly, there's no live updates. Once you publish something, the apps don't refresh the content based on any user input. So those are the things that are the gotchas. So when we do our walkthrough, you're going to hear me say start over. I'm going to ask you to say start over in the chat because you'll see that what we might end up getting is not what we were expecting. Okay, so let me go over to the Canva platform now. All right, can you see the entire platform? Are we good here? Yes. I'm sorry, I moved my chat. Now I'm like,
Yes, we're seeing it.
okay, great. So the way that you get to Canva Code is through using the Canva AI option on the Canva platform. So here I am at the home page of Canva, and you can either get to the Canva Code platform through this left link over here or this top. So we're going to select Canva AI, and then you'll see down here the Canva code for me option. Okay. So with that being the case, I'm sorry, one second. With that being the case, what we want to do next is show you some of the apps that I've done already. So the way you get to the apps that I've done is if you don't see them here, then if you click at the menu area, you'll see that these are the apps that I've already coded. So I want to share a couple with you. So my first coding project was basically asking Canva to create something that would help me with my event planning. And that is creating a menu where users could select what they want to eat at the event. And I could keep a retained list of it as long as I don't reset. So this is what Canva provided. So in this scenario, we are we can put in a name and first and last name and ask the person what they want in terms of a food selection. And then they could submit that. And then you would see who needs what in terms of food at the bottom, right? All right, so this is great because again, I only did one version. I want you to notice how basic the pictures are here. It is using what options I asked for, which is pizza, hamburger, hot dog. But it's very basic in that way, but it did work, right? And so we could publish that if we needed to. I did not publish it, but we could. So let's go back to the options. I'm going to show you two more of my own, and then we'll get into the demo. So the next one that I'd like to show you is this, what I call a horse racing game. The prompt really was simulate a horse racing game for my ladies' luncheon. We were having a luncheon in the office, and it was going to be derby style. So I wanted to see if I could get like a virtual pretend horse betting game for us to play around with. And so this is all I put in terms of the prompt area. Now, let me show you by version 2, it looked like this. So, it had a nice bright color. It said Ladies Derby Tea Party. And I like the layout of this one. So you just put in your name. We could put in a name, and it says we were betting, starting betting with $100. And then you could select the horse, and it made all the horse names up. Canva Code did. One of the things that I noticed though is I was expecting to see horse pictures here. I didn't see them. So I really wasn't sure what these things were. Later, I thought maybe, and I don't know if you guys think this too, but are these saddles? Like, I don't know. So with that in mind, I came over to the area and I asked Canva Code, what are the source of these images? And bottom line, it basically said that these images are not external, that they are like rendering them on the fly inside of the code. Something called SVG. SVG for the programmers in the room, they'll know what that is, right? So I started to ask Canva, like, well, can you use, if I have some images that I want to use, can you use them? And the Canva code started to say, yeah, I could do that. Um, we can use, maybe put them, if you put them on Google Drive, I can get them. Well, lo and behold, round and around we went, and we got to 12 versions. And again, I like this version. I never did get the horses, and this is where we landed on my 12th time around. And even in doing so, at one point, I wanted to see if maybe I could take the code and have another AI tool fix it for me, because I had heard that that's a thing. So if you ever want to get to your code here if you clicked right, you can see this label that says view frame source. Here's the code. So I could have asked Canva, I did ask Claude AI. I copied this code and I asked Claude AI if it could fix it. Claude couldn't fix it either. So I ended up just not publishing, and version 12 didn't work out so well for me. Okay. So let me go back. So these are all the gotchas as you experiment with Canva. I want to show you one more before we get to our demo, and then hopefully it'll all make a little more sense when you see our final. In this one, I'm going to show you a more practical application that I wanted to create. So I write proposals for small and large business. That's what I do sometimes in my day job. And so I asked Canva Code to create basically a pricing tool for me. And if the business that I'm talking to has never written a proposal for, it has a small amount of people, then I want to charge them $50 an hour. But if they've been in the game for a while, then I want to charge them $200 an hour. So here's my first version of that. And I'm going to walk through it a little bit so you can see. It's really quickly. So basically it says, let's get started. And I'm going to put in a business name because it asks for that. And I'm going to click continue. It says, do you currently have any government contracts? I say yes and continue. And then it's asked, have I ever submitted a proposal to the government before? I'm going to say yes and continue. All right. And it asks what number of employees do I already have? I'm going to say 3. Okay. It gave me my quote. So hopefully you can see that it did function well. And that's right off of the first try. One of the other things that, I think I put in the request was that asked if they want to move forward with my services. So I'm going to say, yes, let's get started. And here you will see, it's very interesting. It asks for a name, email address, and phone number, which I didn't even put that in the prompt, but it was interesting. But I'm going to put my name here. And I'm going to put an email address and hit submit. And it says, thank you. Now, remember when I was sharing the slides with you, one of the things that I mentioned is that Canva Code does not have a back end. So really, this is not sort of good for a mock-up, but you couldn't really do anything with it because it's not real. And that's the other thing that I wanted to share. So hopefully you can understand now what I'm saying about that. Um, Trying to get back to the chat area so I can see. So, do you guys understand what I'm saying about that? And are we good so far? All right. All right. Let me see. I'm going to get down. Sorry, I just want to get down, make sure I'm interacting. Someone said they are saddles. All right, great. All right. So, moving on. We're going to move on really quickly now. All right. So, actually, I wanted to share with you code for me. Okay. All right. So, what I want to do now is switch gears. I want to share how I created the sticky app. And so, the first thing is to ask, what is the sticky app? So, here we are. This is the interactive sticky note platform that I worked with Canva Code to get. And I asked it to create an interactive sticky note planner for me and prompt me for like up to 5 notes. And then we can move those, allow me to reorder them and I can get a visual. All right, so I'm going to show you the visual. All right, probably maybe by version 2 or 3, I had this. So let me show you how it works. And that way, when we get to our demo, you can see. So basically, you can put up to like 4 or 5 stickies in here. And great. All right. And then it allows me to reorder them. So if I want to make sure I pick up the kids first, then you can do that. All right. So then once I've confirmed, it gives me a timeline. It says you can pick up the kids, wash the car, and it's in the order. And it even, recommended different infographic views of the same data for me. So wash the car and a wheel view, which is kind of nice depending on what you're creating. At some point in my versions, as I was interacting with Canva Code, I thought, well, it's nice that I have this view, but I at least get a printout? So I requested a print button. That did not work as well as I expected. It put the button here, however, this is not functioning. So that's, another gotcha. You see here that I have submit to Google, and I'm going to show you this. And when we do the walkthrough, you'll see that we're going to do sort of like a 2-part here to ask Canva Code to give us the submit to Google. But the point is, we didn't have any way to get this data, but we could potentially use a Google form. So I'm going to say submit to Google. All right. And you'll see that it has now my pickup kid, wash car, and grocery shopping, which is nice because now we can do something with that data if we have to, right? Okay, so I'm going to hit submit. Oh, I forget, it always asks for an email address that's required. But if I hit submit, it said your response was recorded. So it went ahead and provided my response over to my Google form. So that's kind of nice, right? All right, so let's get to the walkthrough of creating one now. Would you guys be okay with that? Everybody be okay with that? Wonderful. Okay. So let's get out of here and give me a minute to get my prompt together. What I want to show you. All right, if you can see this PDF file that is a printout, I want to show you the workflow. What do we have to do to make it happen? We're going to use the Canva Code app to create our sticky note planner. So we're going to request it from Canva Code. Then we're going to quickly move over to Google and create a Google form. Then we're going to get a link from the Google form that is affiliated with this form. We're going to go back over to Canva and we're going to connect our sticky note planner app that we made in Canva and our Google form by giving it the link. And we're going to ask Canva to put a submit to code button, excuse me, on our app. And that's how we're going to do it. All right, so I'm going to get out of there. We're back in Canva. Let me get the prompt together. So we're in code for me. I always double check to make sure we're in code for me. We are in code for me. And I'm going to put the same prompt. This is the same prompt that I used. And again, at this point, I want to remind us that this doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get the same results that I did. Canva Code is has a mind of its own, and what you see is what you get. But this is the prompt, and I'm going to hit submit. And it says it's thinking, and all of a sudden it starts to render that code. So for people who've never used Canva Code for that pretty much is the process. Now we don't know how many lines of code it's going to do, and I haven't seen a way so far in Canva to see how many lines of code it's going to do. So while it's creating our app, we're going to multitask and go over and create our form. So now I'm in Google, right? So I'm in our Google area, and I'm going to go over to my Google Apps and look for the forms option. All right, so the forms at the forms option, I'm going to do start a new form. And in this scenario, I'm going to just give the form a name. I'm just going to call it sticky. And then we need to give this form some data fields. Who can tell me how many data fields we need to at least have in this form if you saw the prompt on the other side? If you didn't, we need to give it at least 5 because that's how many sticky notes we have. So we're going to call it this first field sticky 1. And the only other thing that you have to select is what type of data will you be putting in this field. And I'm going to say we're going to be putting in, oh, did I not type that? We're going to be putting in long form text. Okay. So now we have our first field. And then I'm going to basically start to duplicate that so that we can have sticky 1, 2 through 5. So sticky 2. Oops. And duplicate sticky 3. Duplicate sticky 4. And 5. Okay. So now we have 5 fields to match our 5 sticky notes that we're going to do. So if you needed to preview, you could do that here. But if you're satisfied with your form, you can go ahead and publish. The one thing you want to make sure is that when you're publishing, you make sure that anyone with the link can use it because that's how the form can be found on the internet. But go ahead and hit the publish button. And now we see up at the right that the form is now published. All right. So now all we need to do is go over to these 3 bars and select pre-fill form, the 3rd option down. Okay, so I'm going to pre-fill some dummy data in here and then I'm going to explain. Okay, so I'm going to put the same thing, but it's going to be in caps. Okay, you with me? Let me check. I don't want to just be talking to myself. Let me see. Everybody good? All right. Wonderful. Okay, so now we're going to click Get Link. And then we're going to say Copy Link. Now, let me explain about the form in case you haven't heard about the pre-filled form because I had not heard about it. But basically, it's like if you created a Google form and you knew half of the information that you needed the user to fill out, you could go ahead and put that in there. And then you can send that link to the person who you're trying to get more information for, and they can fill out the other items within the form. So that's really what that does. We needed to be able to share with Canva so that Canva Code can have some place to know, like, where am I sending this data? That's pretty much like the short answer of how that works. Okay. So now we got the magic. We already, oh no, we're gonna get the link. I'm sorry, we're gonna get the link and we're gonna copy the link. Can't remember if I did that already, but we need the link. But now that we have the link, we got the magic. All right. So now we can go back over and look, Canva Code has finished our interactive sticky note. So this is our first version. So we're gonna test it out real quick. I'm gonna put 3 notes back in. Same. Uh, Now here's the thing. This is where I'm going to say to you, do I need to say start over? Because it might, I don't know what I'm going to get. Canva Code gives me whatever it thinks I should have. Sorry. Okay. So here we go. Now, does it let me reorder? See, it doesn't let me reorder, even though I said that in the thing. And I don't see our submit button. So this is where it gets tricky. We have to go back and do a versions 2. And I have to say the reorder is not working. And there is no submit button to get to the infographic. That's all I'm going to say. And then I'm going to hit the enter key. And then it's going to say, oops, let me fix that. The challenge with this part is it has to go through all the code again. So here's a good place for me. Yeah, so Rhonda was saying very buggy. That's it. And I did, when I looked on the Canva support page, it does seem like it's still in the beta phase. And let me see, I see a question if I can get to it. And I keep saying, I apologize. I'm using my small laptop today and it's driving me crazy. So Janice, you were saying, show me how you got to this step. So I did create a free guide that I'll give you guys that has all the steps that I did because it is going to take practice. Pretty much you have to like see it for yourself because none of it is going to be the same each time. But hopefully we get to finishing up and I think, Corrine, you were asking what is the best use for Canva? I think it's prototyping. And the other thing that I have used it for is if you like, I'm a coach sometimes to small business. So sometimes I will have questions that I want the person to think about. I can build that specifically for that person. All right. Okay. So now we have a version 2. So let me see if we can get Canva Code to act right on our version 2. So we're going to say wash car, pick up kids, grocery shop. All right. Now see how it did this? This is interesting. Like my app, it allowed me to reorder right away. This time it's asking me to continue in order to reorder. Okay, so I'll continue. But now it's allowing me to reorder. I can, let's see. No, it's still not. It's still not allowing me to reorder. But so in the interest of time, I won't do that. But this is where I'm saying you're supposed to be able to drag and drop. Oh, is it letting me? Yeah, okay, so you have to use this little doohickey on the right. So it allowed me to reorder. So that's good. So the second version worked. And then we can confirm the graphic. And here's the infographic that it picked for us, right? So, all right, so yes, so it put it in layers, but sometimes it doesn't. Like the one that I created, it didn't put it in layers. Okay, so but really quickly, we still have our link. The last thing we want to do, we want to really quickly, let me get to my notes. I want to put this prompt in here. Before I forget, I want to copy. Okay. All right. Hold on one second. I'm just getting our next prompt together, and I'll have it in here all at one shot for us. All right, so we're back in our prompt area of the chat box area, and I'm going to ask for a third version of our app. And let me scroll up a little bit so you can see, because right now we don't have a submit to Google button down here. So I'm going to ask it to add a button that allows us to submit the data to Google. All right, so if you see right here, I'm saying to Canva Code, use the link of the Google form that we created, right? And if you look really quickly in here, you'll see that this form has sticky 1, sticky 2. These are the temporary fields that I put into the prompt area, into the form that we created on the Google side. Now, the last part of this prompt, I'm saying to Canva Code, replace the note content after each of the equal signs. So basically, everything I have in these equal signs, replace it with the 1 to 5 notes that is in the app. Okay, so here we go. We're going to click submit and let Canva think about that and we should get a submit to Google form that links up to our Google form that we created on the other side. All right. Can you use drag and drop when you command it? I'm not sure. That's a good question. I've never tried that. But you can use any language. So the language I put here on this prompt, sometimes you could put this any way you want, write it out the way you think. It doesn't have to be like, code and you need to write it, but it does help. Like, I use the term Kanban, and that's used sometimes in some of the software development areas where that is a clue for it to know that I wanted those cards to be move around. So that's where you have to sort of practice and see what Canva will understand and which things takes it sideways, in which case you have to do what I was saying, which is start over. Okay, so we're up to 440, 460 lines. Fatima wanted to know why didn't I create the Google form first? You can, Fatima. There was no order to it. You could have that form all set, absolutely. And you could add it to your first prompt. You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I just did it the way I did it from the jump. All right, so here we go. We're gonna test our app again. So wash car, pick up kids. I keep doing pick up kids second because that way I can remember to reorder. So if I wanted to pick up the kids first, if I want to pick up the kids first, I can move this up because you have to make sure Canva didn't break functionality trying to give us new functionality. Here we go. We have a submit to Google form. Now we got to do is see if it works, right? So submit to Google, and there is our sticky form. All right. Someone said pick up the kids last. Okay, so we have our form, and now all we have to do is put in an email address because I made that a required field on our form, right? And then you hit submit. And when you hit submit, it says your response has been recorded. So let's go back over to our Google Drive and go back to the forms area. Let me go back to the forms area. Here is the sticky form that we created. And look there, we have one response. That's from the response that we have. The other thing after that I like about this is, again, it's lightweight. You don't want to ask Canva to put any kind of sensitive data. So make sure it's, you don't want any PII, privacy data, or any like passwords or anything. However, it does give you a way to get some data over, and then you can use this area right here on the Google side to create a spreadsheet and do other things with your data. So I won't go into that, but that's the other reason why I really like this. Okay, so yeah, so that is the full gamut of creating this type of product. Now, we can, from this point, the last thing I want to show is to publish. So you publish by using InDesign and saying that we're going to create a website. You could create a presentation or other stuff, but we're going to create a website. Okay, and so really quickly for people who want to make sure I understand. So you can, spoof up your design a little bit if you needed to, right? So I can add, I can add some things. Okay, I'm here. Okay. I can add this. All right. I'm moving it around, but I want it to be smaller. Okay. I can add this, and if you preview, this would be now a part of my design, right? So now I've created even more personalization for my design. And again, this preview area allows you to test, but we won't do that, right? Now, what we want to do is publish. And this is where I was saying, if you don't have a website, you can have a website on Canva because it allows you to publish right here. The thing that I wanted to show you is that for the web domain that Canva is going to host for you, you want to make sure that you give it like a generic name. So I gave mine the name Archie Rocks, and then the .my.canva site is actually the primary site on the Canva side. And then it's using the name of this app that we did, Interactive Sticky Notes. So if I edit this, you can change this piece right here, which is Interactive Sticky Notes, but you can't change the Archie Rock from there. And so I wanted to show you that. And I also wanted to show, if you go over to the settings, go to your settings, and look at your settings and go to domains, web domains. This is where your domain that Canva is hosting for you resides. If you select a view, you see this is your domain and this is everything you published, right? So this is where if for whatever reason you want to change your domain name, you can do that here or remove it altogether. And again, even though I've created more than this many Canva code apps, I've only published these, and some of these are published directly to my Archie Rocks website that I have that is external to Canva. But here you can unpublish, which you can do that back on the other side too, but you can unpublish here as well. So just another way for you to see and maintain what you have. I tried to find the answer to whether or not how many of these Canva allows. I know depending on if you're a paid customer or not, there are some rules to that. So, okay, so that really wraps up the bulk of my presentation. Let me see if I have any questions. I do have some others that I can share. Let me see. Someone is asking, can you connect this Canva website to your Shopify store or Stand store? So I'm not familiar with Shopify or Stand, but I will tell you, I have an external website, and it's through GoDaddy, right? So I can basically copy the link, because here on the when you're in the publishing area, you can get the link to your project, and then you can actually give that link to whatever, like your Shopify store, and it would allow you to do it that way. I did have let me see, I did have a QR code if you wanted to get this free app that I had. I created this guidebook, and it's the original version of the sticky note that I did. So I have, these are all pictures, but you can see exactly how I did it and how my results came out. And then towards the end, I show you how to connect it to the Google Drive. So you have everything you need to practice and make as much as go back and practice and do as many apps as you can to where you get what you need. All right. So any other questions? Let me see. Daydream, I don't know how much time I have or how much you want me, because I have, I just have some others, but they're more
Yeah,
fun. So I can,
you can go ahead and show them a few more.
okay, okay. All right. So let's see. Let me get back to the Canvas site. These are just fun. So you can see, I, when I was practicing, here is one that I did, and I called it remember, I don't know if I'm kind of, old school. I remember the crazy 8 ball, which was a big black ball you could buy in the store, and then you could shake it and ask it for something. So I wanted to see, what Canva would provide for me. So I created that, and it's, just sort of like a mental break. I said, created such that I can tell it what my crazy coworker did. And so if I say she wore I call them house shoes to work, to the office. And then I tell it to shake the ball. And I had to go through a few versions to have it to be black and like the 8 ball, but it shakes it and then it gives me a saying on the other side. And so you see it says document everything. So that was something fun that I did that, is another way to practice. Everything, doesn't have to be like the business. If you want to do something with your kids, that's another way to use it. And the other one that I did was I did a postcard dream. So this one is a dream escape. So you put in your name and you tell it to pretend like you want to go to all these places. So I say I want to go to Paris, and I'm using what they already have in here, Bali and Japan, which Japan is on my list. And then I wanted to create a postcard from me to me, telling me how much fun I had in Japan or whatever. So anyway, it says the cultures here is so rich and the people are incredible. And see down at the bottom, it says to Kit from your future self in Paris. So again, just more creative ways to get the mind flowing. Someone was asking what's the best way to sell these. Does anyone else have any ideas about that? Because I haven't thought about it from that perspective, actually. Up until this point, I've really been just using it more for personal. Let's see. And then the last one I'll show you, this is another one that didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Again, these are more, as you can see, I must be stressed because a lot of mine are playful stress. So this one is make me a coffee based on how my day is. So let's see, I said, today I'm having a great day. And then it asked me what kind of mood I'm in, and I'm going to say refreshed. And I didn't give a lot of detail here on terms of what I wanted it to do. I just said, give me a fun app and where users tell you what type of day they're having. And then I did have to work with it because before it was giving me cups of coffee that was rendered inside that was bland, but I did get it to share and I can't think of the name of the site that gives free pictures. I asked it to look on that site and do pictures. And sometimes you got a great picture and sometimes you got like a not so great picture. And I don't know why, it had the picture there and now it's gone, but it's talking about what the brew looks like. And then you can brew another cup. All righty. So that's enough for me because you guys can play. And I thank you for having me on the learning tube. It's fun to learn together, and I don't have all the answers, but yeah. Thank you all. Adrian, that's all I got for today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. Great presentation, very informative. Now persons are really going to do it as homework and try to see what they
Yes.
can do with Canva code. So thank you so much, Cynthia. Thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank
Bye.
you all. Take care. All right. Bye.